In the year 2023, a tragic incident occurred in the affluent neighborhood of Buckhead, Atlanta. And the tragic incident happened to none other than the esteemed and wealthy matriarch, Nadira Bailey, who resided in a grand, sleek mansion. Nadira Bailey lived a very lavish lifestyle, which was a testament to her late husband's successful career in real estate and some other various business ventures. Despite being a 67-year-old woman, Nadira's opulent world was filled with extravagant parties, luxurious vacations, and high-end designer clothing. Nadira's family was equally impressive. Her children, sons Kofi and Jamal, and daughter, Nala, were all grown and successful in their respective careers. Kofi, the eldest, was a skilled lawyer specializing in corporate law, Jamal a talented entrepreneur with a string of successful startups, and Nala a gifted artist with a thriving online presence. Despite their busy lives, they remained close-knit and devoted to their mother. However, beneath the surface of their luxurious lifestyle, concerns began to simmer. Nadira's children had grown increasingly worried about her safety and well-being. As their mother aged, they noticed a subtle decline in her physical health and a growing dependence on her loyal staff. At the helm of the household staff was Akua, the poised and experienced housekeeper. A tall, imposing figure in her late 50s, Akua had been with Nadira for over 2 decades, serving as a confidant, advisor, a friend to her and a mother figure to her children. Her tenure had earned her a deep understanding of the family's dynamics and a level of influence that was unmatched by any other staff member. Assisting Akua was her niece, Bella, a quiet and reserved young woman in her early 20s. Bella had joined the staff 5 years ago, initially as a part-time helper, but had quickly proven herself to be diligent and hardworking. She was responsible for maintaining the mansion's immaculate gardens and assisting with household chores. The sole male member of the staff was Kwame, a burly and affable man in his mid-40s. Kwame had been Nadira's chauffeur and handyman for over 10 years, providing transportation, performing minor repairs, and handling various errands. His warm demeanor and willingness to help had made him a favorite among the family members. Apart from these three, they had an army of staff who always come during the day and leave at night. But these three were the constant staff who stayed with Nadira every day all year long, and the family had always trusted them implicitly. But as Nadira's children became engrossed in their various lives and visited less often than they used to, they became quite worried for their mother's safety whenever they had the chance to visit. And this is because of the fact that they began to sense that something was amiss. They noticed strange occurrences, such as misplaced items, gross negligence in the household duties of the staff members, and an eerie feeling of being watched. Their concerns, though vague, refused to be silenced, and they couldn't shake the feeling that their mother's life was in danger. Little did they know, their worst fears were about to be confirmed. If only they knew, they would have acted faster. Nadira Bailey's life began to take a dramatic turn when she suddenly fell ill. At first, it seemed like a minor bug, but as the days passed, her condition worsened. She complained of debilitating fatigue, nausea, and excruciating headaches. Despite her children's urges, Nadira was reluctant to seek medical attention, attributing her symptoms to stress and old age. However, as Nadira's health continued to decline, her children grew increasingly concerned. Kofi, Jamal, and Nala began to notice strange inconsistencies in their mother's behavior. They would often find Nadira disoriented and confused, with no clear explanation for her condition. And they also sensed how negligent the staff members were about her deteriorating condition. The siblings started to get extremely worried, and they told the staff members to help them stage an intervention the next day, in which their family doctor would come to the house to carry out some medical examination on her and take her to the hospital that same day if need be. However, to their surprise, the following day, when they got to their mother's house, she was walking around happily and healthily. They were so happy and surprised, but even though they insisted that the doctor examined her, she refused and said a very firm no. That all that was wrong with her was just as a result of old age. The thing about Nadira is that she hated doctors and hospitals, and she had gotten even more scared of them as she grew older. Her children, so happy about their mother's miraculous recovery, didn't press her further, but they promised to come and check up on her physically in 3 weeks' time, but they promised to always call her on the phone before then. Nala, her daughter, stayed longer with her than the rest. She stayed with her all through the night before she later left very early the following morning. On the 13th of June 2023, Nadira Bailey's first son received a disturbing phone call from one of his mother's neighbors. Apparently, there has been an offensive stench coming out of their mother's building, and the house has also been very quiet. Shocked beyond imagination, he called his other siblings, and they all rushed down to his mother's house. The first thing they noticed was that the entrance gate was locked. They forced it open with all that they could find, and as soon as they moved near the main building, they were met with a very offensive stench and a very quiet house. Confused, they ran inside the building calling out their mother's name, but when they got inside, all the valuables inside the house were gone, and the closer they moved to their mother's room, the worse the smell got. But when they opened the door to their mother's room, they saw a sight that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Their mother was decaying. Shocked beyond belief, they stared at their mother's decaying body for several minutes before Kofi, the first son, summoned up the courage to call the police. The police arrived at the scene, and they started making investigations, trying to track down all 3 of her staff members and the missing valuables such as gold, artifacts, family heirloom, money, and so on. After about a week of this shocking discovery, which hit Nala the most, being the last child, she remembered that she had installed a CCTV camera in one of the chandeliers in her mother's bedroom when she started suspecting her sudden illness, and how the staff members took it with levity, and she wanted to know why. She had placed it there the last time she came when she slept over. However, the shock of seeing her mother's decaying body was so much that she had totally forgotten about it. Immediately she remembered, they went to the police, and with high-end technology they were able to rewind the CCTV to Nadira's last day, and what they saw really was horrible. The 3 staff members snuck into their mother's room when she was asleep, and Akua pinned her hands down while Bella pinned her legs down, and Kwame strangled her with her pillow. Afterwards, they took turns pouring acid on her body, which made her start decaying immediately. Nala fainted multiple times while watching this horrible scene, and her brothers were mute as a mule and still as a statue. And luckily for the 3 wicked souls, and known to them that there was a camera in the room, they made a call for hotel reservations in a nearby town. The police got to work and nailed them down. Even though they had left the hotel they mentioned, the police followed their trail, and they got them arrested, all 3 of them. When being interrogated, they said the motive behind their evil act was because they felt they deserved more than they were getting from Nadira and her family, and that they also wanted to live the good life, hence the reason why they took the drastic step they took. They also confessed that the solution they poured on her body was to reduce any form of smell so that the neighbors would not suspect a thing till they got across borders to Mexico, their intended destination. They further confessed that they had been slowly poisoning Nadira, but since her kids became insistent on taking her to the hospital, they had to stop in order not to get caught. But they couldn't wait any longer, so they had to kill her in the brutal way they did. Her murder was something they had been planning for months. When Nadira's children heard all of these from the police, they were shocked because they had been so good to them, helping them with their financial troubles and staying with them through whatever personal problems the staff members had. However, the betrayal that hurt them the most was that of Akua's, because she was a friend to their mother and like a second mother to them. She had watched them grow up. The police revived the stolen properties that they haven't sold and seized the money from the ones they have sold. And they were in the county jail for months before they finally got tried in court. On the day of the trial of Akua, Bella and Kwame, the courtroom was filled with a sense of anticipation and outrage. The prosecution presented a damning case, revealing the shocking details of Nadira's brutal murder. The jury was shown the footage from the secret camera, which captured the brutal and calculated attack on Nadira. The video evidence was particularly damning, as it clearly showed Akua, Bella, and Kwame working together to subdue and ultimately kill their employer. The prosecution also presented testimony from experts, who confirmed that the staff members had been slowly poisoning Nadira with a toxic substance, carefully manipulating her medication to conceal their actions. As the trial drew to a close, the jury delivered a guilty verdict on all counts. Aqua, Bella and Quame were convicted of murder, conspiracy, and theft. The judge handed down severe sentences, reflecting the gravity of the crimes committed. Quame received a life sentence without the possibility of parole, while Bella and Aqua were sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. As the staff members were led away in handcuffs, Nadira's children felt a sense of closure and justice. They had fought tirelessly to ensure that their mother's killers were held accountable, and now they could finally begin to heal. Even though the disturbing tape that they watched will forever haunt them, they found peace knowing that the evildoers were all in jail. The trial and convictions sent shockwaves through the community, serving as a stark reminder of the dangers of greed, lack of contentment, exploitation, and the importance of vigilance in protecting the vulnerable. Nadira's story would never be forgotten, and her memory would live on as a cautionary tale about the devastating consequences of greed and betrayal. What lessons do you think society can learn from this case? Share your thoughts below. If you found this story compelling, please consider sharing it to spread awareness. Like this video, subscribe to uncover more true crime stories where deception and truth collide. Click here to watch another chilling case in our series.